What's important to you? My mission is to ask as many people as possible this question, because I believe once you know what's important, you can design and build a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. My name is James Dean. I'm a life coach, and I hope this podcast inspires you to uncover what's important to you. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at James Dean Coaching, or connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also learn how I can help you understand what's important at jamesdeancoaching.com. Few people have had the kind of life that today's guest has had, and ended up running a worldwide organization dedicated to the empowerment of self and others. Born with a genetic disorder and undergoing about 30 operations, she has faced many challenges and has been able to transform her life with the power of positive thought, self-esteem, and sound healing. All of her work on self-development over the years has brought her to where she is now, creating a global movement of love, growth, and connection through her organization, Our Sacred Community. Today, we find out what's important to Sophia Soul. Hi, Sophia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, hey, James, I'm really excited. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Like, truly, it really is an honor.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So we're going to dive straight in, Sophia, with the first question, which is, what's important to you?
Oh, James, how long have we got? We could be here for all night for a whole year. What's important for me? I think out of the top of it is to be true, is to really be true to myself, to follow the path that I feel true to be on, right? For me, I follow a lot of guidance. My whole life is all about guidance and surrender. So to follow that path, because when I'm coming from my truth, then I can be of service. Then I can do things altruistically. I can help others. I can help myself. I'm fulfilling my own needs. And thereby, when I fulfill my own needs, I can help others fulfill theirs. And that's a very short answer for that. Could be a long question, but it's really to know what my truth is and to follow it, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Fabulous. No, absolutely. And I think I get, it's one of those things where I hear a lot about this thing of my true self, or the other word I hear a lot is that authentic self. So, but it means so much to every different person. So I'd really love to know what that is to you. What does, being my true self mean to you?
To really connect, to have that connection with the guidance, to have that connection with myself, to really, whatever I do, whatever it is, to know that, or to feel that it's what I'm meant to do. So, like, for me, it's, like creating global community, but that's because I really feel guided, even with all the challenges and everything else. I can't be of help to anyone else. I'm probably not a very nice person, like be happy and everything else, if I'm not following that truth, if I'm not following that guidance, because you get to a stage where you resent things and you get really frustrated, and because things aren't working, it just does not feel right. Where when I'm following my truth, even through the challenges and stuff may not be working, especially tech, they're all the wonders and joys of tech, it still feels right. You just go through the challenges, right? You just go through them. Where if I'm not following my guidance, then I'm not happy. In the bigger sense.
Yeah. And when you said you said that a few times in relation to guidance. So what do you mean when sense of, because that's, is it something that's external to you when you're talking about guidance?
Probably, I'd have to say probably internal.
Okay.
I would think my whole life, ever since I was really young, really, really, really young, I've always known that I've been here for a bigger purpose. I've
Okay.
always followed the guidance, and now thinking of it, it could be internal and external, because I also follow directions or signals. Like you're driving down the road and you think you're going straight, and suddenly you get this overwhelming feeling to turn right.
Mm.
Stuff like that. You follow signs. Someone comes into your life or something comes into your life, and it's like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. An opportunity, whatever that is. For me, I've had quite a few of them. I said, I've been on some amazing journeys that I had no prior intentions of doing. Like it's not a sit down and let's plan the next 5 years or the next 10 years, and
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what I'm going to be doing. I just open up for whatever comes in.
Okay.
And it takes you on an amazing road, an amazing journey.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit about that journey then. Like, I'd love to know more about yourself and your journey. So that's, as you say, you've taken all these different turns. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
Well, very quickly, on a physical level, I was born with a genetic condition, and I've had over 30 operations and gone through a lot, not just physical pain, but emotional pain, because I was really, really bullied. Right. But I've also known that I've always been looked after. So even though I went through that stuff as growing up, which I really believe that I agreed to beforehand, which is another conversation. But I was, guided to stuff in my early or mid-teens. It was like I had a choice. I could continue going down the path of the poor me, the victim. It's a genetic condition. Why me? Why not my sister, who does not have the same condition and looks very different? What did I do to deserve this? God doesn't love me. The world doesn't love me. All that type of stuff. I can continue going down that path, or I could make the choice to know that this is my life, and it's my choice to what happens to it. Right. I can, do something about the why me and turn it into, not why me, but how can how can I live the best possible life that I can. So I did, and I was just guided to do things. One of my things that I've all struggled with, especially in my younger years, is self-esteem. So
Sure.
I was guided to learn about self-esteem, and then helped to be able to teach it and run retreats on it. I've been guided wherever I've gone. I've always been looked after. I've been going forward. I wanted to do some really deep healing. I don't know if you've heard of rebirthing.
I haven't, no.
Okay, I wanted to do some really deep healing of childhood issues.
Okay.
And I was guided to go see a rebirther who happened to be a sound healer. Now, before that, let me go back a little bit. Before that, like I said, I was in 30 operations, chronic pain, used to take heavy duty narcotics, right? Was not in a good shape. And then I just made a decision. I did both my knees in, totally wrecked my knees. And the specialist said, there's nothing you can do except have 2 knee replacements. And this is after 30 operations. And this is after having massive amount of drugs pumped into me, right? All the operations, all the anesthetics, all the painkillers, all this stuff. And my body literally yelled at me and said, no more. Can't take no more surgery, no more drugs. Just can't do it. There has to be a better way. So I made the decision not to have surgery. I didn't have my knee replacements. I stopped all the medication, went to India, got off all the drugs, totally detoxed and got really healthy. But I was still in pain, right? All the stuff that I did in India and when I came home, all the massages and the acupuncture and the acupressure and everything else and the Reiki and everything else, it all helped, but it didn't go to the source of the actual pain. It helped cover up the pain. It helped take it away, but it never healed it. But when I was guided to this rebirther to help me overcome some childhood issues, this person was also a sound healer. And the moment I experienced the sound healing, which I'd never done before, my body woke up. I could literally feel my body going, this is what I need to heal. Then after that, I don't know how long, a few months, maybe even a year, I was guided to travel with a sound healer.
Nice.
Right? They just came in, and the timing, you know, the time when those times just all work out.
Yes.
Like, it's like, I knew the sound healer. They were in the same place that I was, and it was like, we're going traveling, and I'm going, well, actually, I'm leaving where I was. I can come too. Yeah. Do you need some help? Yeah, sure. Right. So off I went touring with the sound healer. And it was, and even overseas, we went overseas for eight months, and everything else, it all just fell into place. And it was through that sound healing that I was able to heal my physical body. Not completely. I mean, I still have issues. I've got, if I overdo it like anyone else, I'm in pain, but sound is my medicine.
Wow.
And so much healing happened. And then I came back from overseas and was traveling and was touring myself. And then one day it was like I was house sitting at that time. I was home free, loved it, could go wherever I liked, house sat, toured with sound healing. And it was like, I need to find a place for winter, to stay for winter, a long-term house sit for winter, because I didn't want to be, it gets cold. I'm a bit of a cold frog. Don't like the cold. And I thought I was going to go north, which is nice and warm for us. Yeah. But instead I was guided, and I was literally told, you've got to go south. You have to go south. Like, you have to. No ifs, buts, or maybes. There's even a 5-month house sit waiting for you. Wow. And it was like, no, I want to go north. No, you have to go south. So I did. I came down here, and it was in here, and I got here, and it was like, what am I doing here? Like, the energy was really different. It was really hard. It's like, what am I doing here? And I was told that I was going to stay. I was going to settle. I was going to be in a place by the water, and I had to start paying rent, which I also tried to object to, like, because I never paid rent up until then. It was like, why pay rent when you can house sit? Yeah. But I did, and it was through that. Then I was talking to a friend of mine, and just both following guidance, we kept getting these feelings of creating communities for women all over the world. And slowly, our sacred community has been created. And that's just one. I can tell you more. Yeah. I can tell you many more stories. Yeah. It's amazing what happens when you follow your truth or follow that guidance. You just let go and let the universe guide you. So that's part of what's important to me, like
Yeah.
following that guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can, there's thank you for sharing that story, because I think there's so much in it. And a couple of the things, I mean, the first thing I think, when you go back to that, when the first thing you're saying, that sort of the late teens or mid-teens, I think you were saying, in that going from that perspective or that mindset of the victim, way of thinking. And in some ways, I'm sure there's lots of people can think, well, that's, it, but I look at all the things that have happened, or look at all the things that are, have happened to me or are me, that, you could persist on those things, you could feel very much
Yes.
justified to do it. However, as you say, though, it's like, it is a way of, when I was hearing you explain, telling the story there, it's a way of, well, it's a way of keeping you in a space. It's a way of keeping you small. It's a way of keeping you defined in one thing. But like, when you to make that shift, in a sense of, well, actually, whether it's the word, I don't know if it's the word is acceptance, or just, I'm going to see what you said, instead of, oh, this is what I can, it's like, well, how can I help? What can I do?
Yeah.
In that moment, or those moments, I suppose, when that, from that shift of the victim side of it to actually, what, I'm going to do whatever I can to help. What was the difference that just that change in mindset made to you? How did it make you feel?
Uh, Relieved and responsible,
Wow.
right? Because, like, we all have choices, but for me, I've always believed that no matter what life brings us, I've always believed the purpose of life is to experience joy, right? To be happy. It really, really is. Even through the deepest, darkest crap that life brings us,
Yeah.
all the pain, all the hurt, to somehow to find that joy.
Mm.
And I had it, like I said, I had that choice. I could continue a life of sorrow and pain and unworthiness and everything is going wrong, all that stuff. Because when I look at the world as wrong,
Mm.
everything always happens to me.
Mm.
I go down the road and I get a flat tire, or every red light happens, someone hits my car, whatever, all that stuff. It always happens. And if I continue to look at that, well, of course it's going to happen. I
Yeah.
can continue to live that life. Or I can let it go, get rid of that heaviness, which is the relief,
Mm.
and take responsibility for my life.
Mm.
And know that, stuff's still going to happen. We live in
Yeah.
a world in bodies. When you have bodies in this world, physical bodies and physical things, stuff's still going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to get on with every single person.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen with material stuff. But when I take responsibility for my life, I therefore take responsibility for how all that stuff affects me.
Mm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's the two words. I mean, I was like, I think that I can totally get the relief word, in a sense of that change mindset, but I find the word responsible, the way you said it, is actually really, really powerful, because, because it's even then one you said is like the responsibility for yourself and how you're going to do it. But then the add-on from that is like, where the responsibility, then do you find then a responsibility then to the community that you've tried to create as well?
In a way,
Yeah.
yes, in a way, but more, it's the same thing, and it's still a lesson. It's still a journey.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. It's why I'm still here. It's really when I learn the lesson of letting go.
Yeah.
That's the word that was trying to come. When I learn the lesson of letting go and allowing the universe to do its thing, then that the community, the global community, is really the responsibility of the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I take on control or try to control and think that it's mine, all mine, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to, it's all my. Hey, that's hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been hard work because
Sure.
I've got to go through, you've got to go through those lessons. So in answer to your actual question, then it's actually the universe's responsibility.
Love it. Love it. So do you then, I'd love to see then, where do you see yourself then is when in trying to spread this and create this community? What do you see as your role then, I suppose, in sense of what you're trying to do?
Co-create with
Yeah.
a business partner and the universe, but really someone described it as like an orchestra and being
Nice.
the conductor, the
Yes.
physical conductor, but allowing the universe to play all the pieces.
Lovely. That's
Does
such
that
a
make
lovely, yeah, it's such a lovely
yeah,
analogy and metaphor because
yeah.
in some ways as well, I'm immediately getting the image there, and we'll go into it more, but I suppose it's like I can see in some ways how it would start in a sense of maybe just two or three musicians, and then suddenly it just grows and grows, and you didn't even ask them to come in; they just start playing. Is that sort of how it's
It's
happened?
yes, yeah. When I really let go, and you're the witness to the magic of the musicians, of the instruments, of all the different pieces coming together, and knowing, there's that, what's that saying? I know it's like it takes a village to raise a child,
Yeah.
but then it's like, it's a village, it's a community. Everyone
Yes.
comes together to share their uniqueness.
Yeah. No, I love it. No,
you know
it's a real, I can see in a sense of like the way that sort of real sort of position or place that you have in it, because and I think it's because it's the difference there as well in the sense of the word trying to control, and you say that sort of almost possessive thing over it. If you did that, it's like, well, because going back to one of the words you said earlier again, is about trying to serve people. But if it's all about yourself, then you're not serving the people that you're actually trying to build the community for. So because you said it a few times there in sense of letting go, once you really let go, don't know if you are able to, but could you explain a sense of, well, what did that actually mean? What did you actually have to, was there something you had to, was it a thought? Was it a physical thing? What did it mean to sort of actually let go?
Can I, if I can I share a book with you?
Yeah, of
The
course.
name of the book. It's one of the most powerful books, not the only one of. You may have heard of it, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. He's written quite a few books, but two
Yeah.
really ones: The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul. But The Surrender Experiment is about his life, his journey. And what it is he did an experiment to let go of his likes and dislikes. So basically, he let go of his opinion, and
Wow.
whatever came in front of him, he just accepted. So it's a very similar thing. I really try and live that way daily. That when I can be and have been all my life a very controlling person, right? It's got to be this way,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but when I let go of that control, when I let go of my opinion,
Mm.
my likes, and allow whatever opportunity it is, whether or not someone comes up with an idea. And even if I first react and I go, no, that's not going to work. That's my own ego's
Yeah.
reaction. And it's like, no, hang on, it's not up to me.
Mm.
You know, if it works or if it doesn't work, that's not my thing. But let's just create the opportunity for the person or the idea to grow,
Yeah.
to bloom. If we can, if someone says something and I go, yeah, okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, then it's okay. But if it works, then I have to get out of the way in order for that to happen. To allow other people to really shine,
Mm.
right? And again, it's all lessons, you know, because we all have different personalities. One of the biggest things is, you know, in creating, you know, communities, when you are with other people, however much, whether it's just a family, but when it's outside people who aren't family too, and all different cultures and all different beliefs
Mm.
are all coming together, and it's like, you know, you've got to somehow again allow the orchestra
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah.
So it's really just letting go of letting go of my
Yes.
idea. No, it's not my idea.
Yes.
Now I think it should be that way. No, it's not. Letting go of my dislikes. No, I don't want to do that. Well, you never know what could happen if you do.
Mm.
You know, letting go of all that and just allowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. No, it's a really great. I haven't, I think I've heard of the book, but I've not read it, but it's even just getting in that concept as well, because the, you think of as like the sort of the letting go of the likes and the dislikes, and that's the pair of them together. That's a really interesting perspective, because, you know, you could think, well, why would I let go of what I don't like? You know what I mean? That's, you know, because people say, but that's who they're going back to that, but that's who I am, you know, and so sort of focused on either one thing or not a thing. So it's a really interesting way to be able to, if you truly, as you say, really truly let go, it's about not stopping anything and just seeing what happens
And just seeing
as
what
you're going.
happens.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And you know, there's a balance, because we live in a physical world. There are
yep,
physical things that need to be done, you know,
yep,
especially in any business.
yep.
There's stuff that need to be done. But you know, I could say that I'm really good at whatever it is. You know, I'm really good at tech and I can do all the tech, but so can other people. You know, allowing other people to share their skills, allowing other people to meet their needs, you know,
Yeah,
their human needs of, you know, of contribution and growth and significance and, you know, and connection.
yeah,
You know, and it's just allowing, just keep on allowing every day. We're talking about quotes, but can I
yeah,
share something with you? Just to think, I've just got it down here.
yeah.
I don't know where it comes from. But it's on my computer. My only function is the one the universe gives me,
Mm,
you know, whatever that may be.
yeah,
You know, I don't have to worry about everything else.
yeah,
It's not my problem, which is
yeah.
actually so relieving again, enlightening,
Yes.
because it's like you think you've got to do all this and worry about this and do that. No, you don't. Just let it
Mm,
go.
yeah,
I have I have a list. I've got my to-dos thing or my
yeah,
to-be thing, and I have a list for me.
yeah.
I have a list for my business partner, who's the web person mainly, and I have a list for the universe.
Wow. That's a,
And it's like,
yeah.
let it go, let it go, let it go. Give that over to the universe. Yep, let it go. It's freeing. That's the word. It's
I was gonna
freeing.
say, yeah, absolutely. And it's, yeah, no, I've never heard that before, actually. For all the people I've spoken to about, you know, plans and lists and things like that, to actually put one on the side and go, actually, you know what, that is going to be taken care of. I'm going to trust in this.
trust.
And yeah.
Yeah, it may not happen in the think that it may not happen in the way that I think it will, or the
Yes.
way that I think it should,
Yes.
right? Which
Yeah.
is a lesson.
Yeah.
But when you really let go, the universe takes care of it, and magic can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I seriously, in this and in all areas of my life, I've been guided to some amazing places. Like I said, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you get told to turn right. I go, okay. And you've got no idea where you're going, but you end up in the most amazing places. Like, I've slept in the car, because I've car camped sometimes when I was traveling. My car's set up for sleeping, for car camping, right on the edge of Australia. And it's like, there's the ocean. Never in the life would I've even known about it.
Yeah.
Right? Never in the life. I've had some incredible experiences of just people showing up at the right time in the right place, or offering the right thing. And it's like, yeah, okay. That's all. Yeah.
Do it. Did you when you were going, when you were first sort of, I don't know if this was a thing you've been doing for so long, but that giving up, not giving over, or that letting go thing, when you were trying to do that first, did you feel some resistance to sort of allowing those things to happen?
Oh, yeah, because I'm a very controlling person,
Yeah.
or used to be an extremely controlling person.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you mean I got to let go of my, life and all that type of stuff? It's like, no, of me.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's really, it's trust.
Yes.
It's trust in myself, and trust that there is, whatever you want to call it, a universe, a God, a
Yeah.
greater, a higher force. To me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Right? The Tao, we read the Tao every day, the Tao Te Ching, and talks about the Tao. It's the source. First of all, I mean, if there's no belief in anything other than what we see, it's a little bit hard. Right. But again, I've always, my whole life, always known that there is a greater purpose. There is a universal energy that looks after us. Right. This universe has got your back. Big thing. Totally believe in it. But until that belief, it was like, yeah, no, it's my life. I'm controlling. But when you get to have a relationship with the universe, then magic can happen.
Yeah.
And no matter what, the universe has always got my back.
Yeah. There's one of the things I'd like, and I don't know whether if they are connected or not, in the sense of that trust, or that belief you have in the sense of the universe out there. But one of the things you said earlier, it was in relation to, your own and self-esteem, and building up other people's self-esteem. Do you think, working on that self-esteem for yourself, was that one of the things that enabled you to then have that trust?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Because for me, the root or the core of self-esteem is really believing in myself, no matter what anyone else thinks, says, or does, whatever, irrespective of what everyone else thinks. But I can't believe in myself until I get to know myself. Right. And we can go deeper, that if I think that I'm just this physical body, then, well, first of all, I mean, one thing is to get to love the physical body.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing. But for some people, it takes a lot. But when I know that I'm more than just this physical body, and I'm a being of all these unique qualities, And I get to really experience that underneath all these layers, all these onion layers, we call it the onions that have to be peeled off,
Yeah.
all these experiences, every single thing that I've experienced on my journey or journeys covers up that unique being.
Mm.
So when I spend some time to get to know that unique being, get to appreciate who I am, get to approve of myself and start loving myself unconditionally,
Mm.
right? Not no, I'll love you if, but totally loving and accepting myself for who I am now unconditionally. Then, I can connect with anyone, right?
Yeah.
I can have a relationship in all the different ways of relationships, whether
Yeah.
it's an intimate relationship or a friend relationship or whatever,
Yeah.
a lot easily, because there's none of that expectation and dependency that
Yeah.
happens so much in the world. But I also, when I connect with my source, with that inner source, I'm also connecting with the greater source, because it's all kind of one anyway,
Mm.
right? And I just really connect with that energy, and I have that relationship, that connection
Mm. Yeah.
that keeps me filled.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's probably the simplest. I've heard lots of different people talk about sort of self-esteem and, whether how to build it and what it actually means. But in the sense of what you just said there, I think it's the simplest way of having unconditional love for yourself. Like it has to be the bedrock of
It has
it,
to be.
because if you can do lots of, whether it be sort of, you can practice gratitude, you can do breathing, you can do meditate, you can do all the stuff, and it all can work. But if the root cause is that actually, after even doing all of those tools, techniques, that you still, cannot make that bridge to actually really accepting and loving who you are, you could do them all forever. They're just going to say, give you a mask and, over it. So this is where I think sometimes it's like, and where I love in sense of, for talking to you, is like, for what you've done and what you're doing with the community, is like, all of these different things can work, but it's really about to get to the heart of the issue, which is the individual themselves, and how can they love themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once
And,
they do that, it's almost anything is possible then.
anything is possible. And it's not always easy. It's not an overnight
No,
process.
no, not
It's
at all.
not an overnight process.
Yeah.
We have been, what's the word? Just not distracted. We've been disjointed. That's still not the word that I'm thinking of either. Detached from our true self for a long time. It's going to take a while to get back to that. It's going to take a while to really to go beyond, the physical thing in today's world. I mean, we're so used to living in a physical world, in a body. We're so used to expecting or depending on other people to love us or to like us, or whatever it is, appreciate us. I lived, and I was a carer with someone with an amazing jazz guitarist for 18 months, but this guitarist was totally visually impaired, totally
Mm.
blind, right? So I was his carer. I did everything for this person. I drove them from a couple of hundred Ks to buy a guitar, to go to music lessons at the conservatorium. I was his sight reader. I cooked, took him everything
Mm.
for 18 months. And it was after 18 months that and I did nothing for me, nothing. And it was like after 18 months, this little voice inside of me finally yelled at me and go, what the hell are you doing? And I realized I stopped. It's because I never appreciated myself. I was seeking appreciation from other people.
Wow.
And I got that
Yeah.
from other people. Oh, we appreciate you so much for everything that you do. But in getting that appreciation from other people, I devalued myself because I never looked after myself. We can't help others. And this is even, and I know it's really, and it's easy for me to say sitting here talking to you, but it's so true for even mothers and fathers, people who have families. We can't help anyone until we help ourselves.
Completely. But
Right?
what you just said there as well about that, it's a really powerful, story to share about that, because, that whole thing of, being someone's carer is, one of the other words you said earlier, I think, was altruism. So it's really a sense of, putting yourself in a position to help someone else. But as you say, though, it's in some ways doing it for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's not altruistic.
Yeah.
Because you're actually wanting something in return.
Yes.
Now, whether it's financial, or whether it's a thank you, or I was wanting appreciation, so it wasn't altruistic.
Yes.
Right, because I wasn't appreciating myself, I was depending on others to appreciate me.
Yeah.
Right. So and it happens all the time. You go and help someone and they don't even say thank you for whatever reason. Right, whatever reason. And you go, well, I'm never going to help you again, or that that person never thanked me, I'm never going to help them.
Yeah.
Well, if you're coming from your heart, and a filled heart, a heart that is fulfilled through fulfilling your own needs, then you can go and help someone. And if they don't thank you, it's still okay. You'll go back and help them again.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it for that thanks. You're doing it because you want to do it, because you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were saying that story as well, there is like, it reminded me of something that I've been kind of thinking about myself over the last year, since I've been chatting to people on this podcast and reflecting on myself, as this idea of, like, again, the sort of the external versus the internal, and then what you say and what you do versus how you think and feel. When people talk about, I want to be myself, or I just want to be my true self, and to me, I find there's this element of, if everything when you're doing the things out externally on the outside, the things you say and do, you can achieve a lot, in sense of quotes. You can get a lot of success, you can get a lot of stuff, you can get a lot of titles, or promotion, all this stuff. But if that's disconnected, and I think in the word they use there, with what you're thinking and you're feeling, then what are you actually doing? You're just doing it for the sake of, because you don't know what it is you actually really want to do. You're caught up in that space of just doing it. But I think that, I know, when I speak to most people, everyone's got that thing that they really want to connect to, something they're really either interested, passionate about, whatever, but they're keeping it suppressed. They're keeping it, below the surface, because they're not sure if I want to say this or do this or whatever. So it's like, but if we can bring those two together, bring that energy and drive of the things that you you can do, all that stuff, but bring it to something that you really, really love. And as you say, to this conversation, see what happens. Because it's like, you obviously have that energy, physical, whatever it is, to do what you want to do, but it's something that you obviously deeply care about, and it's created this community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the one thing I would like to know about is, like, how do you sort of, obviously, because it is a part of it is a business as well, that this is the thing, and I think this is where it's really important that people don't misconstrue, oh, but that's just a business. It's just there to make money. It's like, no, part of the world that we do live in is that income is part of it. It's part of the thing.
Yes,
Like, you know, it's part of, and we're all able to do it. Like it's part of who we are.
yeah.
So how did was it always something, I'm going to create this as a business, or is that another part of the whole orchestra development that it became a business? I'm interested to know that story.
Well, it's become a business because in creating anything like a community, it costs.
Yeah.
Even just, we're using Zoom today.
Yeah.
That is a cost.
Yeah.
Again, we live in this world where everything that does depend on money.
Yeah.
And if you want a service or of something or a product of something, you have to have an exchange, which is money. So therefore, we have to cover our costs,
Yeah.
right? Which is the business part. Now we have a thing, there is that balance. Yes, it is a global community, and yes, we definitely want to make it in such a way that anyone can join us, right? So yes, there is a membership fee to join
Mm.
one part of the community, but we make it as affordable as possible. But yet, on the other hand, we have to cover our costs,
Yeah.
right? So that's the business part. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, and for anyone who has a business, especially when you first start out, there's a lot of costs,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of costs
Yeah.
and then ongoing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's just part of it that we live in the world that we live in
Yeah.
today. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, yes.
But I think as well, though, even just from this conversation with yourself and the bit that I looked at, because I didn't want to look at too much, because I like to come at it from when I
Yeah,
talk to people with not knowing too much as such, but I definitely will look more after, is that my perspective when it comes to like people within business and in this particular industry, with you, that whole umbrella of well-being, wellness, support, that service system is like, if it's really giving people that um, fulfillment, that perspective, that joy, I think that word that you say, then it's for those people, the cost is pure gold, because it's the value they're getting out of
it's the
changing
value.
their lives. So it's kind
It's
of
the
like,
value.
it's the value of what people are being provided, and
Yeah,
and I think comes back to the sense of what you're trying to uh, do with your community. Does it, again, because we've spoken a bit about it, in a sense of, did you get to the point now where it's about them as a person as opposed to yourself?
oh, totally.
Yeah.
No, totally. Absolutely. It definitely is. That's why I said, if I get out of the way,
Yes.
magic can happen. And it is giving value. But what I found, James, if I can say this, and this is from a lot of different experiences, like I said, we live in a world where money is a value, right?
Yeah.
We all go on money. There are a lot of people in the world that also, that exchange services as values or good, that's different thing. But in the majority of the world, money is value. Money, it's how much do I value this in a monetary world,
Yeah.
top terms. And just from our experience, and this is why, and I think this is a lot of people who are in the wellness area.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I charge for that? How I can't charge for that. One is they're not valuing themselves. But the majority of people don't value what you're giving
Mm.
unless there's a financial exchange.
Yeah.
And that is truly what I've experienced. It
Mm.
doesn't have to be a huge amount. But when we offer free programs, people will book, but they don't show
Yeah.
because it's not valued.
Yeah.
But when we offer programs that have a financial charge to them, well, then they show, because I've paid for that. There's a value to it.
Absolutely.
And that comes back to also valuing ourselves, or
Totally.
valuing myself. How much do I value my time?
Yeah. Yeah,
Big
absolutely.
one.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah. And I think as well, that even then goes back to things we talked about earlier about the sort of coming back to that whole thing of self-esteem and, self-worth and all those things. So again, and then if you go back again, it's about loving yourself again, because it's the thing of like,
Totally.
all of those things come up to the point where, to the point where if you're going into to business or doing anything, that you have that value of yourself and that self-worth. So it all comes back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You shared one earlier in the sense of, I think it was about the only function in my life is to be part of the universe. Was that the quote that you shared?
Yeah, my only function is the one the universe gives me.
It's a brilliant one. Are there any other quotes or anything, or other people that
Quotes.
that you like or enjoy, or
Oh, there's so many. But the one that I really go back to, I think, is from Anita Mujani. It's another amazing book. If you haven't read that one, Dying to Be Me, right? Really good book. Is Remember Your Magnificence. That, when I read that, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Really, really, because it's so true. When we really do remember the magnificent being that we are, not the physical body that limits us, right? But that magnificent being, and magic happens.
Yeah, love it. I'm sure that there'll be plenty of this people that come under this answer as well. But who do you think has had the biggest influence on yourself? Yeah.
Again, many people.
Yeah.
And I know I don't know if this is going to make sense.
Yep.
But truly, it really has been my life that it. All I can say is the universe.
Love it. Yeah.
And I know the universe isn't a person, but I've learned so many lessons.
Yeah.
So many lessons, and had so many experiences about letting go and trusting and letting go of that control and all that type of stuff through the situations that have been. I mean, we could be here for hours if I described more. Some of the situations that I've experienced, there's no doubt that it hasn't been created or provided, whatever, by a greater energy. There is absolutely no doubt. I'd love to share one with you, but I know we're running out of time.
No, please, if you've got the time, please share.
Please, really, really quickly. Very quickly. This is when I was traveling overseas for 8 months, right? Came home, got back to Australia, 3 days, no sleeping, right? Did a crazy thing, went and got my car, which was an hour and a half out of town. And instead of staying there and having a good night's sleep, I had a crazy thought. I'm going to drive into town, right? Totally forgetting that the person who was looking after my car said, you're going to need a new battery. Okay, your battery's not good. Even though they charged it, it's not good. You're going to need a new battery. Drove down the road, really realized that there's no way I'm going to drive into town. I need to have a sleep. Right? Pulled off the road, but not right off the road, right? Just on the shoulder, because I'm very good at power napping. Because I used to do lots of driving. I can power nap for 5 minutes, not a problem. Pulled off the road, but in the bush, in between towns on a highway, put off the road. Go to sleep for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever. Woke up, battery's dead. Right? No battery. No battery, no phone. Because I was out of the country for 8 months. My phone had been disconnected. Nothing. Was not in a safe place.
Yeah.
Definitely not in a safe place. It was getting dark. Could not sleep in the car because the car had too much stuff in it. Really not in a good place. Tried to stop a few people. They just kept going straight past because it's on a major highway, right? Couldn't do anything. And I'm going, this is not good. And so all I did is I just said to the universe, I said, I need help, and I need help now. This is not a good situation to be in, right? And I don't know how long, maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I still can't remember this. Sitting on the side of the road in my car that can't start, nothing. Coming up the other side of the highway, this ute stops on the opposite side of the highway, and they go, "Are you okay?" 2 guys, 2 men, who had been drinking. It is getting dark. And I'm going, this ain't good.
No, yeah.
Anyway, and I go, no, I've broken down. I've got a flat battery. I can't go anywhere. And I don't have a phone. Can I borrow your phone? And they go, no. They go, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Lift your bonnet. They brought their ute around the front of my car, took out my battery, put in their battery, started the car. While the car was still running, took out their battery, put my battery back in, connected it all, put the bonnet back down in, told me to get in the car and drive an hour and a half, and they said, do not stop.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting here going, what the?
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Now, if someone would say, oh, that's a coincidence, I go, that ain't a coincidence.
Yeah.
That is really connecting to the universe. And when you need help, the universe provides.
Yeah.
That has been one of the, and I've had other experiences too,
Yeah.
but that is like, it still blows my mind. And that was like 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah. But and that's a fabulous, fabulous story. And I can see, in a sense, of why you would answer that as the question of the biggest influence, because it has literally been, from our just this conversation now, been an absolute constant in your life.
Yeah,
You know?
all my life. I mean, I've had other things. Before I got into sound healing, and I was house sitting, I was in one place in New South Wales, and I just happened to look on this house sitting site, and up comes this ad for a house sit, urgent. Need a house sitter this weekend. We will fly you from anywhere. And it happened to be in the same town that I was born in.
Wow.
Where my family was. And I go, I can do that.
Yeah.
They flew me, and every school holidays I'd be flown to look up to Mackay, to where I come from, to live in this mansion, to live in, to look after this mansion, no cost, everything else. And then a few years of doing this, I was going to go back to another school holidays, and I kept getting this voice, this thing, you have to drive. You have to drive. And I'm going, there's no way. Why would I drive 3,000 kilometers when I get a free flight? No, you have to drive. You have to drive. So I drove, because I kept being told, you have to drive. On the way up there, on the way to driving, 2 days before I was due to get there, my father was taken to hospital. I ended up staying, instead of 2 weeks, I ended up staying 12 months. I needed a car.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right? The people who I used to house sit with, I didn't know this, owned a B&B. when I got there, I happened to say, I'm going to be around a bit longer. My father needs help. I've got to organise my father's health care, and eventually we had to put him into care. I'm going to be here for a little while. And the owner of the house where I was house said, oh, do you need somewhere to stay? We need a manager for our B&B.
Yeah, amazing. No, I'm getting goosebumps. You just telling me the story there.
Yeah, but this is truly what happens when you have that connection with the universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Amazing.
yeah.
Sophia, it's been an absolutely wonderful experience to talk to you. I do have one more question for you, and that is, what's important for your future?
Connection, really.
Yeah.
Connection and trust that every single thing that is happening is perfect and is for my own benefit, and for not just for my benefit, but for everyone's benefit. But what's really important is just to continue that connection.
Yeah,
with the
absolutely.
universe, with the higher source.
Absolutely. Love it. As I say, it's been absolutely wonderful to chat to you, Sophia. I really do appreciate
Thank you.
all the time you've given me to chat to me. I really want people to, find you. And it is a global community, and to support you and find out what you do. So we will put all the details in the links. If anyone's watching this, they'll be able to see it behind you. But if you want to share
Yes.
now where people can, find you and connect with you online, go for it.
Well, Sacred You, the letter U, sacredyou.love. It's the website for our sacred community.
Fantastic. As I say, that link will be in the show notes. Please go and check out that. And thank you once again.
Thank you. I've had the most wonderful time.
Thanks.
It's really been appreciated.
Thanks, Sophia.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to What's Important to You. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and share. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Again, you can follow me at James Dean Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. Connect with me on LinkedIn or find out more about me on jamesdeancoaching.com.